So experts say that you need to have your face in your videos to maximize viewer engagement. If you're like me, an outdoor or adventure vlogger, it's easy to get in the rut of just showing pretty scenery. In this video, I'll show you how to use Filmic Pro's DoubleTake app to get you into the picture. There's 4 ways to get yourself into your adventure videos. The most common and easiest method is to use a selfie camera or shots and get the scenery into the background. A selfie stick or a trekking pole, improvised for that purpose, lets you include more scenery and less of you. The second method is to set up your phone camera on a tripod, and then you film yourself traversing the scene. You can see some outstanding examples of this made by Les Stroud in his Survivorman TV series. But you have to have ideal locations to set up your camera. Then often hike the same section several times. Here's an extreme example where I needed 7.5 minutes of video and a lot of paddling to get a few seconds of me in a solo canoe. The third method is to get someone else to film you. If you are soloing, this isn't an option, and not all of your companions will be enthusiastic about being your cameraman. The last method, which just became available in 2020, is to use an app like Filmic Pro's DoubleTake that can capture from a smartphone a front and a back camera both at the same time. This has its own set of advantages and disadvantages that we'll spend the rest of this video covering.
Now let's have a look about how you can combine the content from 2 different cameras.
It's a little bit windy out here today. I haven't had this kind of wind since I was summiting Mount Humphreys a couple years ago. Careful with my footing here. It's not so easy when you're using DoubleTake like this to keep yourself perfectly in the frame. I probably should be using my trekking pole as a selfie stick, but wanted to get some photos of this beautiful cholla field down here. It's really impressive. Nasty little critters.
It's not always easy to get a selfie and a good forward view both from the same mount point of a camera. In this case, I had the camera mounted to one of the crossbars in this solo canoe. And I'll show you in just a few seconds here how the mounting worked. But it was almost impossible for me to get both a selfie and a good forward view at the same time in this configuration. Just a quick side note about the optical image stabilization in these shots. The camera is mounted to the canoe, so the horizon should be moving and the canoe not. But you'll notice the opposite effect, which is just fascinating. The canoe looks like it's rotating to the left and the right, whereas the OIS stabilized the horizon. So for what it's worth, this is how I'm filming this. I've got my little ultrapod mounted on the crossbar there, and then I'm using the Filmic Pro DoubleTake app to get the profile of me and the forward look both at the same time. So this ultrapod is a pretty neat device if you're into video. It mounts on a trekking pole, it stands up as a tripod, or in this case it mounts right on the boat. So the next thing we're going to take a quick look at is how DoubleTake optical image stabilization works in comparison to the native camera app across all the different lenses. Okay, let's try the image stabilization with different lenses. This is the ultra-wide lens, and I'm holding this in my hand out in front of me about 2 feet. So there should be a fair amount of bobble. I'm trying to, do the heel walk as
as gracefully as possible. Now this is with the wide lens. I think of them as Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. And this one is typically the just right lens. Okay, now this is with the tele lens, which in theory should have the most amount of jitter. So sorry about the wind noise on the audio today, but that's what happens when you record outdoors.
Here's a little trick to using two forward cameras. If you watch YouTube videos, many of them zoom in and out from a talking head in order to add visual interest at crucial breakpoints. If you use two different forward cameras, you can do this optically and just switch between them. That's how I recorded the intro to this video.
So I think if I mounted my iPhone on my helmet, I could probably get a pretty decent picture to the front and the rear. Might have to play with that a little bit. If you have experience doing this with your cycling, let me know. Or if you have other tips on using DoubleTake for adventure videos. But anyway, I hope a couple things. I hope I survive this filming this outro without killing myself. And I hope you learned something about using DoubleTake to increase the viewer engagement to your videos. Thanks a lot.